if you want less than the best, fine. I'm very well prepared to give less than the best. If that's your game, good. Really.
Really? You mean you don't?
Why not?
Well,
I wouldn't want to embarrass the producer by being better than he expected me to be.
There was much discussion about whether Bob worked on his script or cared at all. And one time he called Spader and I to rehearse a scene. Mitchum went to go to the bathroom, and we went over to his script and looked through it, and he had covered the script with notes. It was filled with notes and character ideas and thoughts and ways of doing the scene, and he completely worked on the script.
But he kept his work as an actor in perspective through his interest in politics. His commitment extended to several visits to Vietnam.
The first trip he made, they flew him in a helicopter to one of the remote Green Beret outposts in North Vietnam. Now, there, Bob got out of the copter with a quart of Chivas Regal in each hand. And the Green Beret captain said, "My God, you're Robert Mitchum." And he said, "Look, I have to be here, but why are you here?" Bob said, "I wanted to get out of the house." He said, "By the way, where's the front line?" The captain said, "You're standing on it, and the red shirt you're wearing isn't helping a bit."
We were in an enlisted man's club, and everyone was buying Bob drinks, and I grew a little tired of that. I just sort of sidled up to him and said, "Hey, you're the freaking millionaire here. Why don't you buy a drink?" And he kind of thought that was rather funny. But the rest of the evening, no one else bought drinks but he. So that's how we came to know each other, and we sort of stayed in touch over the years and became quite close. I had been discussing an impending delicate surgery on my posterior, and Bob writes back, "Butch, thanks for the letter. I had just returned home from Dallas and am leaving next week for New Zealand for about 10 days. Incidentally, Red Buttons told me about his hemorrhoidectomy performed by a Korean doctor in New York who practices cryotherapy, in which he freezes the protruding offense and then just snaps it off. Very effective and absolutely painless, according to Red. However, Red told the doctor that he wanted everything to go just right because it was his birthday. So when the doc got him on the table, he anesthetized the area, stuck a candle in his ass, lit it, and the whole staff came in and sang happy birthday. Cheers, Robert Mitchum."
He was as reliable as anyone you could ever work with, and he was as easy to work with as anyone I've ever worked with. And a large part of the time, he wasn't totally, completely sober.
I have to talk to you, Felix.
By all means, have a drink.
I don't want anything to drink.
You want to listen to a medical fact? In this climate, sobriety kills more people per year than heart trouble, motor accidents, or crimes of passion combined.
They'll stalk those ridges until there isn't a still left in Kentucky or Tennessee.
You think it's that easy, huh?
Now, how rough do you want it?
He made a movie about moonshine called Thunder Road. I would send him this moonshine, and it was that really forged the friendship, I would say, because he loved this stuff. I mean, this was pure rocket fuel, brain remover, varnish remover. It was just, it would kill you, and he loved it. And one time he wrote back and said, "Why isn't this embalming fluid more readily available?"
I remember we did a night shoot once. So we get in the car and shut the door and we drive off, and I'm sitting right behind Bob, and I notice his door isn't shut, and I say, "Hey Bob, your door's not shut." And he said, "What?" And he looked up and he had slammed his fingers in the door, but he didn't feel it because he was so high.
Does a man get a drink in this place? To the good years.
back then, you know, real men drank. You know, that's what guys did. People who were coming into Hollywood were people of experience. You know, Earl Flynn was a soldier of fortune they found down in Australia. And these guys were tough guys. You know, John Wayne was was a brawler. We went to his house one night for dinner down in Durango, Mexico. And we have a 5:30 call the next morning, and it's getting to be about midnight, and there's 6 or 7 of us there. And we said, well, Duke, you know, we're going to head on out and go home and go to bed. He said, well, why don't we go down to the Tropicana and see the girly show? And we're down there, you know, drinking and hooting it up to 4 o'clock in the morning. You get home, you shower, you shave, and you go to work. And he walks in. He's like my dad. He walks in like he had 10 hours sleep.
Hey!
Well, why are you so tired today, huh? This is what these guys did. They're made of stuff that people aren't made of today.
Damn you, bullet! What the hell are you doing here?
I'm looking at a tin star with a drunk pinned on it.
And when they ask the fool in the corner, crying, I say, little old wine drinker me.
At times, I think he drank too much, and he realized that later in life, you know, he went down to Betty Ford in a few places trying to correct this. I think by that time maybe the hurt to his body that had occurred might have been a little late.
Robert Mitchum's strength and resilience were defeated by cancer in 1997.
When he passed away, I was a little miffed that here's a guy who I think should have probably gotten an Academy Award or nomination at least for maybe a dozen different films. And when we knew that he was sick, we did a little push to try to request the board of directors to give him a Life Achievement Award. And virtually every actor he had ever worked with sent in letters to the board of directors. Marty Sheen wrote him a letter. And De Niro, you know, Heston wrote him, Eastwood wrote him, Selleck, Nicholson, you know, everybody wrote in letters saying, you know, let's give it to him. Yeah, guys, he deserves it. And my father was overlooked again. Of course, he wasn't around the next one. The next one, Jack Nicholson got an Oscar and dedicated it to my father, which was, you know, the actors knew who was a good actor.
Would you like me to tell you the little story of right hand, left hand? The story of good and evil? H-A-T-E. It was with this left hand that old brother Cain struck the blow that laid his brother low. L-O-V-E. You see these fingers, dear hearts, these fingers has veins that run straight to the soul of man. The right hand, friends, the hand of love. Now watch and I'll show you the story of life.
He said more than once that he was absolutely convinced that he was going to leave Hollywood the same way he came in. He was going to be in a boxcar on a train, and there'd be some bum there that he had seen, you know, 30, 40 years before when he was riding out. And they'd start talking. He'd say, hey, did I ever tell you about the time I was a movie star? And this bum would say, don't give me that crap. Have a drink.
Being around here just makes Bob come to life to me. Really does. Those hills up there, they're so real and pristine. There's nothing fake or phony about them. There they are. And that's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, that's for sure.
For real.
For real.
One terrific character.
Yeah.